The American Fire and Emergency Services dates back to colonial times, long before our forefathers assembled together in Philadelphia to create this great nation of ours. It's worth noting that many of our revolutionary figures, including George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and Sam Adams, were firefighters themselves. For more than 300 years, America's firefighters have risked their lives to protect their communities from fire and other dangers. Hello, my name is Dave Paulison, former U.S. Fire Administrator and Director of the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Today, the American Fire and Emergency Services respond to more than 22 million calls annually, from fire and medical emergencies to hazardous materials accidents, water rescues, and large-scale disasters such as those we witnessed on 9/11 and in New Orleans. These are our first responders, our domestic defenders. In the year 2000, the Assistance to Firefighters Grant Program was established to help local fire departments address their baseline needs. Needs such as turnout gear, breathing apparatus, communication systems, and rescue vehicles, along with prevention and education programs. 3 years later, the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Program was created to help both career and volunteer fire departments meet mandatory minimum staffing requirements. There's much we've gained from these programs in terms of the readiness and response capabilities of our nation's first responders, and much to learn about how the AFG and SAFER programs have benefited our 1 million firefighters and rescue personnel. While you may know that both programs have improved the response capabilities of local fire departments across our nation, perhaps you don't know how. Here's just a few of the firefighting and rescue capabilities that are made possible by the AFG and SAFER programs.
They fund EMS equipment, such as defibrillators, that allow fire service-based EMS responders to save lives and respond to more than 18 million medical emergencies annually.
They enable career fire departments to hire personnel in order to meet mandatory staffing requirements, allowing us to perform our mission safely and effectively.
They allow volunteer departments to purchase breathing apparatus and turnout gear, and enable our departments to recruit and retain volunteer firefighters and have fully equipped firefighters on call 24/7.
They allow departments to purchase communication systems so we can maintain contact with personnel when responding to emergencies.
They provide funding so firefighters can battle increasingly devastating wildfires that continue to penetrate the wildland-urban interface.
They provide funding to teach our children and others in the community effective fire prevention and life-saving lessons.
They expand and enhance accredited training programs so that firefighters are better prepared for the next major emergency.
They provide jobs for the American workforce. More than 90% of all fire service equipment is manufactured in the United States.
They enable fire departments to purchase an array of specialized rescue equipment, which allows us to cut through vehicles and rescue victims in automobile accidents.
I'm Chief Dennis Compton, Chairman of the National Fallen Firefighters Foundation. Each year, an average of 100 firefighters die in the line of duty, and thousands more suffer debilitating injuries. Fire claims the lives of more than 3,000 civilians and causes more than $15 billion in direct property loss. Support for our local firefighters is imperative to ensure that they are properly trained and equipped to perform their missions. The support we have received from Washington, D.C. has had a tremendous impact on the Fire and Emergency Services' ability to respond to that next 911 call. Everything you see on a fire truck, every hour of training, every minute firefighters spend in our schools talking to kids makes a difference in protecting our homeland. Yes, AFG and SAFER are about protecting our homeland against any and all hazards, whether man-made or natural. We need continued support of our leaders in Washington, and for that matter, local and state leaders, to ensure that our firefighters safely return to the station after each call. We need this support so that all Americans can have the peace of mind of knowing that their local fire stations, whether it be a rural department in a small community or a busy station in a large city, are prepared for the next call, a call that might involve their own loved ones or your loved ones. Thank you for your consideration and support for our nation's firefighters and for helping them so they can help you.
We are prepared to respond whenever the alarm sounds.
We responded to the call when the Murray building was attacked in Oklahoma City.
We responded to Hurricane Katrina when others fled the area.
We responded on 9/11, and 343 of our fellow firefighters paid the ultimate price.
We are always the first to respond whenever there is a natural or man-made disaster. It's our duty.
But we need the continued support of our elected officials for the assistance to firefighters and staffing for adequate fire and emergency response grant programs to ensure that we have the necessary training, equipment, and staffing to allow us to do our jobs safely and effectively.